What if I told you there's a mathematical formula for getting rich? Not some get-rich-quick scheme, not some crypto moonshot, but an actual equation that has worked for centuries. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is and how to use it. But first, let me be brutally honest with you. There isn't just one path to wealth. Jay-Z built an empire through music and business ventures. Warren Buffett mastered the art of patient investing. Even controversial figures like oligarchs found their own routes to massive fortunes. The point is, there are multiple algorithms for wealth creation. I'm going to share what has actually worked for me as a self-made entrepreneur and what I teach to thousands of students. But here's the uncomfortable truth most success gurus won't tell you. The circumstances of your birth matter more than anyone wants to admit. Your background, your location, your family situation, even the decade you were born in, these factors play a massive role in your success or failure. And there's this toxic virus spreading through our generation, especially in tech circles, where people confuse their luck with their talent. Growing up as a middle-class kid in suburban Chicago during the 80s and 90s, I had advantages that millions of others didn't. I got an affordable education and entered my career right as the internet was exploding into mainstream adoption. Now, here's where it gets interesting. After analyzing hundreds of wealth-building stories, including my own journey from near bankruptcy to financial freedom, I've discovered that wealth creation follows a specific mathematical formula. The algebra of wealth equals focus multiplied by the product of stoicism, time, and diversification. Let me break this down for you, because understanding each component could literally change your financial future. Let's start with focus, because this is where most people completely sabotage themselves. Here's what blew my mind when I first realized this. People mistake lack of focus for lack of talent. You think you're not smart enough, not gifted enough, not connected enough. But intelligence and natural talent, they're actually weak predictors of future wealth, compared to one simple thing: your ability to focus intensely on becoming exceptional at something specific. But here's the key. It doesn't have to be your passion. I know that sounds crazy in our follow your passion culture, but listen to this. Getting genuinely great at something, becoming someone who can deliver results that most people can't, that's what creates passion. The mastery comes first, then the passion follows. So, how do you focus effectively? First, find something you can potentially do better than 90% of people, something the market will actually pay for. Then position yourself for maximum success. Get certified, get credentialed, and here's the big one. Get to a major city while you're young. You need to be where the best players in your field are competing, because iron sharpens iron. But there's another level to this focus strategy that most people miss entirely. You need to position yourself in front of the right waves of opportunity. For the past 2 decades, I rode the e-commerce tsunami. I built an e-commerce company, then started a consulting firm helping major corporations with their digital strategy. And my largest stock holding has been Amazon since the early days. So, what are the next massive waves? We've had globalization, we've had digitization, and now we're entering the third great wave: dispersion. Healthcare is dispersing from hospitals to homes. Work is dispersing from offices to anywhere. Education is dispersing from classrooms to online platforms. Fintech is dispersing from banks to apps. These are the waves you want to paddle out to and catch while they're still building. Now, the second critical focus area, and this might be the most important economic decision you'll ever make, is your relationships. Specifically, your life partner. Research shows married individuals experience 77% greater per-person net worth increases compared to their single counterparts. But here's the catch. Marriage is essentially betting half your future wealth that you'll be partners forever. Divorce is financially devastating. The secret to protecting this investment? Stop keeping score. Bring forgiveness, generosity, and consistent engagement to your relationship. Or put simply, just keep showing up. Now let's talk about the second component of our wealth equation, Stoicism. This ancient philosophy has a principle that's pure gold for building wealth. A Stoic's primary task is determining what is and isn't under their control. Here's what is under your control: living below your means. This is the clearest path to financial freedom because it's not your salary that makes you rich, it's your spending habits. Any fool can make money. The real skill is holding on to it. When I was younger, I thought being rich meant driving a BMW, wearing expensive shoes, and living in a fancy neighborhood. But as an adult, I learned something that changed everything. Let me tell you about two people I know. The first is a partner at an investment bank, earning millions annually. Between his ex-wife, alimony, multiple homes, and extravagant lifestyle, he spends every penny. He's poor. The second is my father-in-law, who earns about $60,000 a year from his military pension and Social Security, but only spends $48,000. He's rich. The most powerful predictor of your financial freedom isn't how much you earn, it's how much you save. Stoics also understand something crucial about success. Succeeding in life becomes exponentially easier when people want you to succeed. Despite the cartoon image of rich people being villains, the reality is completely different. Good character isn't just morally right, it's financially profitable. But here's where Stoicism gets really practical in our modern world. We're living in an age of superabundance, and your natural instincts can destroy your wealth. The temptations for consumption are everywhere. An upgrade from economy to premium, to business, to first class, to private jets. These all seem like investments in yourself. They're not. Neither is spending hours scrolling TikTok, constantly checking social media for validation, or obsessively monitoring your crypto portfolio. We crave dopamine for evolutionary reasons, but now it's everywhere, and most people have lost the ability to moderate their consumption. Here's the line you need to draw. There's a thick difference between investment and consumption. Investment enhances your economic security. Consumption gives you a temporary dopamine hit. Both cost money, and that's fine if you recognize which is which. I love gambling. When I'm in Vegas, I'll take $1,500 that I fully expect to lose and have an amazing time. But I call it what it is: entertainment, not investment. Anyone who tells you to be prepared to lose it all isn't talking about investing. They're talking about gambling. If you're serious about investing, you should never be prepared to lose it all. If you had invested in low-cost index funds a decade ago, you would have outperformed 90% of hedge funds and alternative investments. And here's a stunning statistic. If you hold a diversified basket of stocks for at least 20 years, historically, nobody has ever lost money. This brings us to the third element: time. In the long term, time is your greatest ally. In the short term, it's your enemy. And here's what's terrifying: the amount of time you have is completely out of your control. Don't waste it. The math on compound interest is ruthless. Starting early with a little beats starting later with a lot. Every single time. Let me show you something that will blow your mind. Two people both invest $5,000 per year, earning 10% annually. Person A starts at age 25, but stops investing at 40. Person B starts at 40, but continues until 65. Person A ends up with over 600% more money than Person B, purely because of those extra years of compound growth. Remember, it's time in the market, not timing the market, that creates wealth. Finally, Let's talk about diversification. Think of diversification as your financial body armor. It ensures that no single bad decision becomes a fatal wound. Bulletproof vests don't prevent you from getting shot or eliminate the pain. They just stop the bullets from killing you. True story. I bought Netflix stock at $15 a share. Today it's worth over $550 per share. Sounds like genius level investing, right? Wrong. I sold it at $12 a share 6 months later to capture a tax loss and never bought back in. It was a painful mistake that hit my financial body armor, but it wasn't fatal because I was diversified. Early in my career, I had a startup that failed spectacularly. I went from shopping for luxury cars one morning to losing 70% of my wealth in what felt like 2 weeks. Then my divorce cost me another 60% of what remained. But I learned something crucial from those experiences. 13 years ago, when my first son was born, I fully embraced this wealth equation. I started investing between 10% and 30% of everything I earned. I refused to invest in anything I wouldn't hold for at least a decade, and I never put more than 10% of my net worth into any single investment. Today, that number is 5%. This doesn't mean I avoid high upside opportunities. I just never bet everything on them. You can still take financial risks. You just need to ensure they never kill you financially. So, here's your wealth equation. Focus multiplied by stoicism, time, and diversification. Financial and emotional security come down to discipline, generosity, and investing consistently, every single day. How do you build a life of love? How do you develop real economic security? How do you actually get rich? The answer is simple, but not easy. Slowly, deliberately, and with mathematical precision. If this formula resonates with you, hit that subscribe button, because next week, I'm breaking down exactly how to implement each component, step by step. And drop a comment below. Which part of this equation do you struggle with most? I read every single comment, and your feedback shapes the content I create. The path to wealth isn't mysterious, it's mathematical. Now you have the formula.